What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? For those of you who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, if you hear me, uh, I'm trying to test out this new mic. Want to make sure you guys hear me. So one of y'all let me know that you can hear me once you get in. We're gonna wait a little bit for the room to fill up. Okay. Yes, indeed. Hope everyone's Thursday is going good. If you want, pour yourself a cocktail or have yourself a beer with me. This is Thirsty Thursdays, episode 186. And we're here to answer questions or talk about dogs. Hell, we can even talk about life. So this podcast is live officially on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast. What else? Spotify. And I'm trying to verify it on a couple others, but right now we are we're live, man. So those of you who are just joined, feel free to ask as many questions as you like, any questions that you like, and we'll get started. So I want to go ahead and talk about or expand on a little bit of what I talked about. I made a little story on Instagram, and I want to expand on that because Instagram only lets you go on for so long. But before that, let me take a sip. Cheers, y'all. Patrick wants to know what's too young to charge on e-collar. Depends on the dog. Depends on the intelligence of the dog. I mean, you'll really know if this dog is stubborn enough and intelligent enough to actually to actually be able to connect the dots. That's the most important thing. Can the dog, once it feels what it feels from the e-collar, can it with relative ease connect the dots? So you're saying, when you say come and the dog doesn't get it, sometimes that takes a little bit of maturity, but there's no real age that I can speak of. It's just more so the level of intelligence of the puppy. So, yeah. All right. So, again, back to that Instagram story. Just want to expand on it a little bit. If you're thinking about an electronic fence, keep your dog out of the front yard. Okay, so set your electronic fence to where it just goes from the back of your house or even the side of your house and back. The reason why I say that is there's just a ton of people. That banner is not supposed to be on. The reason why I say that is there are a ton of people who have their dog on an electronic fence in the front yard. It's just kind of gratuitous. There's no real reason to have your dog in the front yard, especially for herding dogs, especially for protective dogs. It's just a little bit too much for them, man. I mean, it's just too much stimuli to ask. It's a little bit unfair, in my opinion, to ask the protective dog not to protect if there's something that's walking past their territory, coming into their territory, or coming out. Dogs, kids, humans, UPS, all of them. It's just too tempting too much to ask, in my opinion. Now you can get there, and with training, you can get there. you can get your dog to chill in the front yard, but it's going to take a lot of management, especially again for the protective breeds and the herding breeds. So, in my opinion, keep the dog out of the front yard when it comes to electronic fences. I get a lot of calls that dogs get in trouble because of those damn things. So, all right, those of you who just joined in, ask as many questions as you like. Any question that you like about dog behavior or training, doesn't matter. No question is a dumb question. And yeah, let's do it. Okay. So, all right, got a question coming in. I have a new husky mix and she cries and whines even when playing with toys or laying on the floor next to us. Any suggestions for how to curb the crying without over consoling her? Is it anxiety? So how long have you had the dog? And yeah, first, how long have you had the dog? Beth says, super smart. He follows commands until he has stubborn moments. Well, there you go. That's probably a safe indicator, in my opinion. Yeah, Belgian Malinois are plenty smart. They'll be able to connect the dots. If they're showing stubborn moments, then it's time to start go ahead and correcting dogs, giving consequence. So, yeah. How old is he, by the way, Beth? She was a foster who came in at 5 weeks with 3 sisters. Parvo pups who needed lots of care. She's 5 months now. Well, it's their it's who they are. If they're a husky, they're going to be vocal. And 5 months, that's super young. So, I mean, have you told her stop it? And if so, what results has that yielded? And is the puppy crate trained? Because that could help a lot with impulse control as well. Thank you. Patrick owes you. Come meet him. 3.5 months. Absolutely. Yeah, I need to get down there or over there. I saw him saw he has that Blackstone now too. Good move. Good move. It's great for omelets. All right, guys, those of you who are just joined in on Facebook, ask as many questions as you like. I'm not seeing them. Hopefully I'm seeing your questions or I can see them. January 22nd, I will be in Madison for a dog training seminar through Fetch Wisconsin Rescue. If you're in the area and you want to attend, let me know. Yeah, let me know. She is crate trained, cries a little, then settles in, and good call on the no. I'm always trying to figure out why. Sometimes it doesn't matter why. See, some people get caught up in the why way too much with their dog. Why? Sometimes you ain't going to know. Sometimes I don't know. You ain't going to know. You can't talk to them. But you use your instincts. Are they in pain? Have they been exercised? Are their needs met? And then once you know that their needs are met, peace and quiet. Peace and quiet. That's how I figure. I mean, again, it truly knowing your dog or truly knowing dogs, the needs of dogs, after their needs are met, they really shouldn't be vocal. So, safety would be one of the things that cause a dog to be vocal. If they're vocal in your house and you're there and you can't stop it, then they don't feel safe. Hey, and anybody out there who wants to have a conversation with me directly too, join the stream. I've got this new little thing called StreamYard. I've got that link above. You click on the link, you can join me, and I can really give you some good advice one-on-one. So anybody who wants to talk with me directly, I mean, everyone will be hearing you from the audience. But yeah, join in and have a conversation with me. So you coming for breakfast? Hell yeah, I'm coming for breakfast. As long as you guys like tequila for breakfast too. Just kidding. Not really. Okay, Crystal says, "Hey Jeremy, I have a question about what to do on a walk when another dog is running in the yard towards us." Well, I would try and cross the street, avoid it as much as you can, and also demand that the dog just heel with you as perfectly as possible. Now, here's the key, guys, because that brings up a good little point. All right, you're walking with your dog, and the dog still seems to be reactive, right? Okay, let's dig into why your dog is still reactive on walks, even after I've shown you how to walk your dog. It takes practice, but we have to first and foremost perfect the heel. That heel has to be very good. And I want you to be as stern about what we're doing on the walk when there's no dogs around, no people around, no bikers around, no stimuli at all. I want you to perfect that walk so that the dog cannot pick up on your inconsistency. And I'm not talking to you directly, Crystal. I'm just talking in general. But dogs are masters at, obviously, picking up on little inconsistencies that we do. And most people will get lax on the walk when there's nothing around and then try and tighten up that heel when there's dogs, people, kids, or whatever the stimuli that makes your dog reactive. So the key is to act as stern as you would when you are passing those stimuli when there's nothing. That's what I'm talking about. So perfect that heel so that the dog clearly knows what to do. And when you decide to, again, pass something or whatever it may be, that stimuli, the dog already kind of disassociates then, because he's so locked into what their job is and they're so clear on what the boundaries are on that walk. So the latter half of that too, the other half is this: if I have a dog that knows what to do and doesn't do it, then there are other things in the household that have to be addressed. And it may not seem like it's related, but it is. If I have a dog who's constantly reactive on the walk, that tells me that they are still not being held accountable when it's just you guys in the house. Because a humble dog starts in the home. You don't have to practice 1,000 times. You can practice 1,000 times and still your walk still be messed up if that if the rules if when you get home and then there's a lack of rules, there's a lack of structure. You have to think about how the dog's behavior in the home is, and how it you see that same behavior when during the walk. So I just want you guys to know that those two are connected. Your dog's still reactive on the walk. Your dog's probably still acting like a fool in the house, or is getting way too much attention on the dog's terms. Yeah. Okay. Next question. I could go on and on about that. I mean, that's very important. That's like really common. When I go to my pack walks and I see that these dogs are still struggling with the same issues, it doesn't necessarily, I mean, it never fails that they're the majority of where they stay, the majority of the time where they stay, you're not being tough enough on the majority of the time where they, because it shows when you get out in public what you've been doing when you're in private. The dog tells me. Okay? Dog tells me a lot of stuff. When I see you and your dog, I don't have to ask you what's going on. I know what's going on. All right. Crystal says, we've been practicing a lot. I am more concerned about the loose dogs in the yard. I am afraid that it'll run up on us. Okay. So in that situation, protect your dog by any means. If you've got to use your leg, foot, stick, whatever it may be, keep your dog on leash. The one that you're walking, keep your dog safe by any means. I don't care if you have to get physical with that other dog. The last thing you want, though, is your dog to say, I got to handle this. Like, because it could be an aggressive dog and you don't know. If it's not an aggressive dog, whatever. I don't care. But you don't know that unless you do know that. I mean, so if you have a dog running up on you that you don't know, that could potentially attack your dog, because it happens a lot. Get that dog out of there, man. Protect your dog. Because when you have a dog that's on leash, I've said this many, many times before. When you have a dog on leash, it's your job and responsibility to protect the dog. You're keeping the dog from running away because it's on leash. And for some dogs, the only option they have is to self-advocate, which looks like barking, lunging, whatever. So it is your job to protect the dog on leash by any means. Get ugly. What up? What up? What's up, Elias? How are you, buddy? Cheers, man. It's your responsibility to keep your dog safe on leash. All right. All right. Hey, Jeremy, Rip had a crazy prey drive. When there are deer in the backyard, he just bolts. Always comes back, but doesn't listen with collar, use or not. Thoughts? If he always comes back, then why not let him act like a dog and chase? If he always comes back, and they'll always come back, he ain't going to catch him. I mean, I've never heard of it. But yeah, let him be a dog, man. That's great. Let him chase. But however, when I say come, I want you to come. When I say come, I want you to come. you might have to get that dog is a beast. So you might have to add a e-collar because when he's in play drive mode, it's going to be tough to reach him. So, all right, guys, those of you who just joined in, feel free to ask as many questions as you like. Yeah, we're talking dogs, man, all day long. Let's go. We're here every Thursday now too. Oh, it's on now. I'm telling you, I'm live. My podcast is live on iTunes, on Apple Podcast. No, Apple Podcast, not iTunes. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And we're working on a couple other ones. But I want to try and reach as many people as possible. I know that what I talk about will help a lot of people too. So that's the goal. All right. So let me talk a little bit more about reactive leash reactive dogs that are reactive on leash. And despite the training, despite the technique, you're still seeing a reactive dog. That's a relationship issue. That's not a training issue, because there's plenty of dogs who know what to do, but they just don't do it because it's a relationship issue between you and the dog. They know what to do, they won't do it. Then we have to be tougher on the dog as far as holding them accountable for the things that they want. I just got off the phone with a poor woman who dog is biting up the family. And she had explained that the dog was biting the family, bit this, bit that, bit da. And I said, when's the last bite? Yesterday. And then she had mentioned that the dog was on her lap as we were talking on the phone. That right there, that stuff right there is exactly why dogs will continue to react negatively despite training. Training only works if the relationship dynamics are clear for the dog. You need trust and respect. If the dog bit someone yesterday and is on your lap today, wow. Dog don't care then. And what was the consequence? I asked, what was the consequence for the dog biting? Oh, we put him in the crate. Okay. And then how soon thereafter did you let the dog out? Oh, he stayed in there for a couple hours. Dog don't care about your consequence. That was nothing to the dog. He took a nap. Dog took a nap and said, I'll be back on her lap a couple hours. Man, what? No. You guys know me. I don't play that. Dog, if the dog is on your lap, that means the dog is getting affection. Wow. For what? Who would, after a dog has abused you, because the dog is abusing y'all, would say, okay, he spent enough time in his crate. Good enough. That'll suffice. Come sit on my lap. No. No, that's not how it goes. No. See, this is what I have to address with people to have success, long-term success. So that's what I want. I want you guys to have long-term success. But I got to address that. I can't train that. That has nothing to do with the dog. Why would the dog be in your lap? The next day after it has bitten your bitten one of your family members real bad. You're just allowing a dog to say, I can do what I want. So the proper consequence stops the unwanted behavior. That's what the proper consequence does. If it doesn't stop it, then you must do something else. You should not be petting your dog for an entire week after it does something abusive like that. You think you can do that? Who in here, who's watching right now, who can tell me that they can go 1 week without petting their dog after they've done something horrible? Give me a wave, give me a something. Let me know right now. Anybody out there watching, say your dog just bit your mother in the hand, in the leg, in the face, bit your kid. I've heard it all, y'all. I've heard it all. Horrible. Kid gets bit in the face. What's the consequence for your dog? And do you have the ability not to pet your dog for an entire week? Because that dog, you have to, we can all agree that your dog can never do that again. That should be your mindset. You can never do that again. Otherwise, you will be put down. Not given away. Not given away. Because you shouldn't adopt a dog out who has done something horrible like that. That's irresponsible. But your dog should be put down if it continues to do something horrible like that. But that's the type of like, you got to have that. You got to have that discipline. I mean, maybe it's discipline. Maybe it's a lack of discipline. Melissa says, I can pet my dog. I'm with you. I'm with you. You know, it takes, relationships are weird like that. But if you can go a week without petting your dog after they've done something bad, they'll be like, yo, what's going on with you? I mean, I want what I want. Petting is not a need, it's a want. It's for us too. Can we not pet our dog? Listen, I'm not saying we don't give them what they need. We're obligated to give them what their needs are. Exercise, food, a good place to stay. Education is a need. You know, animal husbandry, bath, nails, grooming, needs. But if your dog's acting like a fool, like a brat, like a sassafras, stop petting your dog all the dang time. Because that petting just allows the dog to say, I do what I want, when I want. I can get along with who I want. I can like this person, not this person. I can like this dog, not this dog. I can go here, I can't go there. because I act a fool. No, that's not how it should go. That's not how it should go. There's some special tough dogs out there. I get you. I get it. But the majority, this is how I know I can work with any dog that calls me, or that any person that calls me. I always ask these few questions to see how entitled the dog is. And absolutely, I can work with your dog. You don't need to put your dog down. For those of you who don't know, I should probably give a little bit of background on who I am. I've been working with dogs since 2006. I opened my business in 2011, and I've been working with aggressive dogs, the toughest dogs out there. I don't say no. I don't say no unless I talk to the owner, and the owner is just absolutely not going to. If I get a feeling that you're just not going to be consistent at all, then I won't work with you. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. Okay, let's get to some questions. At a timeout moment and there's no contact with no one in the house. That's called socialization. Do you think the dog will relate the bite to being ignored, and it will make him stop biting? Yes. The dog will know that you're upset with them. Yes. The dog will know that you are different. Yes. The dog will start listening better because it does want that attention. It'll work for it. How do I get that attention that I always get? If I can get it for free, why do I need to behave? That's like allowing your kid to play PlayStation even though he's getting F's at school. Take away that PlayStation for a while. That gives him so much pleasure. And say, hey, tighten up on your grades. Then you can play PlayStation. That's just a boundary. That's a healthy boundary in a relationship. That's all that is. You're saying if you bite, it's going to be different for a month. Because I need you to never do that again. That's what you want to tell them. I need you to never do that again. Otherwise, you'll have to be gone. But if he can be on that couch, be in your bed, be in your lap, the next day, you can still gonna act a fool. Those of you who just joined in, feel free to ask any questions that you like about dog behavior or training, anything you like. No question is a dumb question. Your question will help out others who are watching, and ask as many questions as you like. That's called socialization. Well, let me tell you something about socialization too. Your dog, to be to be good with humans and dogs, don't have to meet a bunch of humans and don't have to meet a bunch of dogs. Let me say that again. To be social, your dog does not have to meet a bunch of dogs or a bunch of people even a bunch of kids. That's not the point. The point is how you are with your dog in your home when there's nothing around. That's how you build a dog who is open to the rest of the world. Because I have met thousands of dogs that are not social, but have met 1,000 of people and thousands of dogs. And not even, it could be all of a sudden or forever. And there's a common denominator. And that common denominator is they allow to act a fool in the house. That's the common denominator. That's the common denominator. Okay, we got another question. How to stop the mouthing of a 12-week-old dog? Did you just get another puppy? If you did, let me know what you got. Hope you're doing well. Okay. Well, I got my dogs on the no leash, but when they mess up, I put the leash back on and let them know they did something wrong. Well, let me tell you something too, man. You know, you should be able to, the way that I teach people how to walk their dogs, I tell people, walk the way that I taught you for a year. Where'd you get this Burmese mountain dog? Walk the way that I taught you to for a year, and you won't need that leash. You know, and like you said, every now and then you might have to put it back on. That's fine. That's maintenance. You know what I mean? Happens to everyone. Happens to the best of dogs. Crystal says, I wish I knew about that socialization aspect from the beginning. Yeah, it's really, you know, I've got my case in point, my golden retriever, even though it's a golden retriever, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And the dog is obviously predisposed to just get along with everyone and everything and love everyone and everything and every dog. It's not my goal to meet a whole bunch of. I'm telling you this. Your dog meets 3 people and they're good with dogs, dog savvy people. And that's all you need. The dog, more importantly, needs a good dialogue with you. And that just looks like your dog knows what no means. Because if your dog does try to start some shit, the first time it tries to start something with someone and you say no, then the dog is educated and keep it moving. Good. Okay. Dog's like, cool. I'm good with it. So would people come to me if their dog actually understood what no means? Like, really? No jumping? No. Barking? No. Or quiet. Jumping on the counter? No. Barking at, or let's say pulling on leash or grabbing something that they're not supposed to grab? No. If your dog knows what no means, would you even come to me? Because the obedience stuff, it can be useful, but it still is under. If you got a priority of things that you need to teach your dog, no is number one. What's more important than no for a dog to learn? What's more important? I'm telling you this. It's more important than teaching your dog to come. Because you can stop your dog with a no. Your dog's running towards the street. No! Dog stops. So no might be the most important thing and underrated. Now here's the other thing that I teach every dog that comes here, that they don't come with knowing, but it's just as important as sit down, stay, come. Right, here we go. And I think I've touched on this. So if I'm repeating myself, if you guys out there heard me before say this, bear with me. But the dog should learn what leave me alone. The dog should learn what go lay down, leave me alone means. Back up, back away. Every dog that comes here does not know what that means, but it's very important because it does tell, it says something significant about your relationship, that because dogs and us, we're the same way. We stand our ground, we take ground, or we give ground. And every dog should be able to give you ground when you ask for it. They shouldn't assume that they can just take ground from you. Small example. When you open the door from letting them in, do they respect your presence or do they just run right past it? That is very significant in how a dog views you. When you open the door and you stand your ground and you try to you posture, does your dog even give a shit about it? Does it just walk right past you like, ha, please, motherfucker, see you later. I'm out of here. What are you doing? Move. Bye. Because if your dog does that, man, you should stop that. It's so important that your dog respect your presence and your energy and your ability to stand and keep ground, especially if you have a resource aggressive dog. Because when one of my dogs have something that ain't supposed to have, all I got to do is walk. And they know, first of all, they know they ain't supposed to have it. So they're already like, okay, here he comes. I better get out of here. That's the kind of stuff you need in order to, again, chip away at the possibility that your dog is going down the road of thinking it's okay to put teeth in somebody or something. Bernese Mountain Dog, huh? Where'd you get that dog from? Those dogs are Bernese Mountain Dogs. Whew. They're beautiful, but they're kind of airheaded. All right, let's get some questions going. When you are curbing bad behavior, like jumping, is no enough, or do you try to get them to do something good, like sit and reward? No reward. No. Good question, though. A lot of people need to hear this. Does a dog reward another dog for jumping on them? What does a dog do? In general, a dog jumps on another dog, it's disrespectful. And a dog might turn to that other dog or get its butt off, right? Dog might go, whew, turn and say, hey. Not say hey, but with its body language say, don't do that. And then might stiffen up and posture itself. You know what I'm saying? Dog jumps on another dog. Oh, get off me. Don't do that. And they try it again. Then the dog might escalate, go to barking at it or snapping at it. Bottom line is they don't reward or try and control them afterwards. They just say no. And they don't have any problems communicating with each other. in general. If you have a super disrespectful dog, then it does turn into a fight. But for the most part, dog ain't, they're just going to say, no, this is not appropriate. Don't do it again. Otherwise, you got to have that otherwise. If you don't have that otherwise, you are subject to abuse, getting taken advantage of by your dog. Because there's no dogs that bite that don't jump. Very rarely. And they're probably doing some other really obtrusive behavior like barking their head off or pulling on leash or not coming when called or is able to be resource aggressive, whatever. But the majority of dogs that bite jump. Yeah, because they just can do what they want. And jumping is not a endearing sort of behavior. It's an obtrusive, manipulative way to say, pay attention to me. Me. And most of us oblige. Caught up in that instant gratification of walking in the door and saying, oh, hello, Fido. Pet. Oh, you jump on me. Oh, I love you. Give you a kiss. Mm-mm. So no. Tell your dog no. And if you got to give them another sit, then that no isn't good enough. If you've got to give your dog something else to do after they jump on you, what you're telling them to get them to not jump on you is not enough because you're thinking they're going to do it again. So you're really just going around the problem if you're telling the dog to sit after they jumped on you. You're praying that the dog won't jump on you again. But the dog should just be clear. Don't do that again. Okay. Awesome. Well, what else do I need to do? And then let them sit on their own. How about that? But don't reward the sit. See, this positive only reward-based, science-based training is really ass backwards. I used to be under the impression when I was a younger trainer, I used to be like, oh yeah, I mean, it's just a different type of training. It's good for some dogs. It's good for puppy. Bull crap. It ain't good for no dogs. It ain't good for no dogs. Positive only training is not good for no dogs. None. It's dumb. You're teaching your dog really weird stuff. You're teaching your dog and you're undermining their intelligence, first and foremost. You're undermining your intelligence. If every time they do something as little as sit, right away they get something. So then the dog goes, give it to me again. Give it to me again. Give it to me again. That's pushy behavior. Every time your dog does something, no wonder it has no patience. Because that's what you're developing when you're doing this reward-based training. There's no relationship that can be developed through something superficial like a treat or a toy. You're putting all this superficial stuff over the relationship. Food, toys. Let's give him a treat when the dog comes. First of all, or second of all, some dogs don't have that appetite. Then what you gonna do? Some dogs don't care about treats, and some dogs don't care about food. And some dogs don't care about both of those things. I'm sorry. Food or toys. What you gonna do now? The best way is the hardest way, but it's the best way because it gives you long-term results. And that is allowing the dog allowing the dog to really be stubborn and then showing said dog that your attempt to get what you want through your stubbornness, or your attempt to not do what needs to be done, like bathing or nails, is not going to work. Your stubbornness is not going to work, because I'm still going to be here and I'm still going to ask that you do these things despite your best attempt to get out of it. That's how you get real change from your dog. There's not going to be enough treats out there. Okay, so let me just talk a little bit more about why you should not treat your dog every time they know it. Okay, first of all right, when you're teaching a puppy and you want them to do something to create good habits, then okay, for a little while. All right, let's say this. You're out walking with your puppy. You want to teach the dog its name. You say, Fido. Dog comes and you get all giddy. You give a treat. I ain't got no problem with that. That's teaching. That's fine. That's shaping. Not necessarily. Is it teaching? It's creating a habit, not necessarily teaching. Because teaching, in my mind, the dog loses the need to react inappropriately. For example, I want to teach my dog that it's not necessary to chase after bikers. Okay. That's what learning is. That's what teaching is. They lose the need to say, they realize that they don't have to do it. That's what learning is. But when you're using treats, you're just creating habits. You're not teaching. And you're going to need that dog to rely on your consistency in order to really live its best life. You want a dog to live its best life? The dog must value what you have to tell them anyway. You're going to have to tell them to come. You're going to have to tell them to go lay down. You're going to have to tell them to heel, sit down. So you might as well make those things actually something your dog values enough to actually do it. Otherwise, just don't do it. You're wasting your daggum breath. If I'm at the vet's office with my dog, I want my dog to lay down, because it not only gets them to relax, it also tells them that this environment is a safe environment if they take my word for it. So, yeah, I just went on a little rant about treats, but man, I have to untrain dogs when they come to me, and they all been treat trained. I have to untrain them, because when you tell them to sit and they look at you, it's like, what the hell are you staring at me for? I'm not giving you anything. If you sit for 5 minutes, I may give you a good boy, not 5 minutes. But if you sit until, if you're, it's not about it's not about the duration. It's more so about the mindset, or the complacency, or the compliance. It's like, okay, we're cool. Okay, cool. We're just sitting here and I can relax. That's how you get something good from me. And your petting should be more valuable than treats. How about that? Your affection should mean a lot to your dog. It should educate your dog that this is okay and this is what I want you to do. But when you tell your dog to sit and give the dog a treat right away, then the dog only sits because you have a treat, and it only sits for 5 seconds. And if you don't give me another one, I ain't sitting. I'm out. But we have to move on from every time you do something, you get a treat. What the? No. People give dogs treats because it makes us feel good. Again, we're being the ones that are being selfish. And then we make overweight dogs that have anxiety. Then we put them on meds. Anyway, I can rant on about that, but I won't because we got some questions. Okay. Jenny says, leaving us alone when we tell our dog you train to do so is the best thing. See, I ain't making this up. It's really good. It's good for you. It's good for the dog too. They need to mind your annoyance. It's really good for them. It's really good for them. Keeps them humble, guys. Come on. Ideas for not mouthing. Oh, I gotcha. So mouth the dog back with your hand, or you can use your mouth. You're not going to hurt the dog. But make the dog uncomfortable. Let the dog know that this is not acceptable. So I usually grab the dogs by the lower jaw and just squeeze it. No dog likes it. You don't have to squeeze hard. I'm not talking about squeezing all hard and all this bull, blah, blah, blah. Just squeeze it hard enough to where the dog gets back. And then be there to do it again if the dog gets sassy and tries to come back at you, because there's some dogs that'll come back at you being sassy. Be ready to bite the dog back with your hand. And tell the dog no until the dog goes away. Or keep doing what I just said until the dog goes away. Until the dog gives up. But be ready. Again, be prepared that the dog may come back. Oh, he keeps mouthing me over and over and over again. Yeah, but okay. Mouth the dog back until it walks away. That's all. The dog won't do it if it gets something from you that makes it uncomfortable. And he weighs his options. He goes, don't want to engage in that. It's not going to get your dog to stop playing with you. It's just going to teach your dog how to play with you. You all know that we all have a dog that we know that's older, old dog. And it could be small. Sometimes it's a real small dog. That puppy that you just brought in, or the dogs that are younger, don't mess with that dog like that. That dog gets so much respect. So that's how we should be. If you don't want it, then you should be able to tell your dog, I don't want it. Stop it. But don't get caught up in the cuteness, because that's confusing for the puppy. Yeah. Great question. Okay, next question. How do I teach my dog, my 3-month-old lab, not to bite me or my family? Oh, same thing. So that's basically the same question, guys. I'm sure it's just a play bite, right? It's not an aggressive bite. Yeah. Give the dog something it doesn't like. Let the dog walk away. So you're on the ground with your pup. You invite him over, and if he does anything you don't like, let him know about it. No. It's okay. Listen, it's okay to be physical with your animals, people. Play with them. That's how they understand who's boss. You think play is just play? Nah. Play ain't just play. No. This is survival, man. They're still animals. They're going to try and poke and prod and see if you're still strong enough to lead them. To see if you're still worthy for them to follow. So, how you get respect, you can play with your dog, but play with your dog in the way where you're showing them that, hey, I'm not going to put up with anything that I don't like. And you obviously being fair, but they're going to jump on you and they're going to try and bite you. So those are things that you can, through play. And I'm not talking about with the ball. I'm not talking about with food. I'm not talking about with any of that. I'm talking about just your physical play. Be physical with them, because that's how they do with each other. That's how they figure out who's boss with each other. They play. Play just ain't play. They're figuring out where your weaknesses are. They'll take advantage if you don't show enough strength. They'll take advantage of you. And then you got a dog biting up everybody. No, stop it right now. The dog's 3 months. Stop it right now. And everyone has to get respect too. Okay. Not saying that if you have kids that they're able to gain respect from the dog, but the dog can still respect the parents of the household enough not to bite the kids, play bite the kids as well. But you got to be present too. You can't let them outside and forget about them. You got to be in there and letting the dog know that that's not appropriate. This right here is going to get you a consequence every time you do that. Yeah. Those of you who just joined in, feel free to ask as many questions as you like. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, all at the same time. And also, guys who are watching, ask as many questions as you're not subject to just one question. Ask as many as you like, and know that your question is going to help out others with the same question. But what do dogs do when they meet each other for the first time? What do they do? You know, they're like, "Hey, who are you? Let me smell you." They check you, man. They're like, "Hey, who are you? What's up with you? You gonna stand your ground? I'll push up on you a little bit. Let's see what you do when I do that." "Oh, you gonna stand your ground? Okay, I respect that if they're respectable." Antisocial dog wants to control because they feel they have to. It's like the guy at the bar, they're just talking shit. Just talking. Insecurity. You will try to control, dogs will try to control because they're insecure. They don't know. They're uneducated, antisocial. And then the I would call, you can say alpha, I don't care whatever you say. Alpha dog goes, "You come over here and try and do that to me, I ain't going to have it. You're going to be educated today. Because you're not jumping on me. You're not pushing up on me, because I'm going to stand my ground. As a matter of fact, I may take some from you because you need it." They'll fix each other, man. I can't tell you how many times my dogs have really put dogs in their place. Not in a harmful way, but in a necessary way. And again, I want to reiterate, I don't have fights. But dogs will naturally humble a dog who is antisocial. And just, again, it's an education. This isn't inappropriate. You can do all of this, but you ain't doing this. Don't tread on me. All right, let's keep it moving. When are you at Madison, and do you go to Madison often? Yes, I do. I'm in Madison the 22nd of this month. I may come the 21st, or I may stay the day of the 22nd. If you'd like a private lesson or anything, let me know. Hit me up. Okay. Our giant schnauzer you train lets the puppy roughhouse without correcting him, or rough coolly demands respect and the puppy honors it. How do we get the giant schnauzer to stand her ground? Some dogs won't. You know, some dogs will just tolerate. It's not necessary that that uh, that every dog do it. It's just good for your puppy to experience a dog that will do it, so it can be respectful to other dogs. Um, yeah, you can't force a dog to stand their ground. So, but great question. Okay, what can I do with a neighbor dog who barks all the time? Mochi thankfully ignores him, but it's annoying. Yeah, I don't know. You can't train their dog, but but to be honest, you can get the doggy don't, and then maybe that's the best you can do. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, guys, damn, this has already been an hour, so I'm gonna cut it off here. But I appreciate all you guys watching. Please give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share. I don't know whatever, but if you found this helpful at all, show me some love, man, somehow, because it just helps reach more people. So I appreciate you guys watching. We'll be here next week, and yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you next time. Peace. Thank you. Appreciate you.